All right, we'll bring this meeting to order. If you would, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, first thing is the reading and approval of minutes from the July 9th, 2024 regular council meeting.
So moved. Second.
Can I ask for a motion first? I'll be scared. Okay, as presented, okay, thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. All right, very good. So moved. The minutes are hereby approved. Thank you, council. Okay, first item tonight is a presentation by Dr. Danae Johnson, Executive Director for Just for Kids. How are you? Just for Kids. Man.
Yes, I am Danae Johnson. I am the Executive Director of Just for Kids. We are the child advocacy center that serves both Raleigh and Fayette County. Before I go into the main presentation, I want to bring to your attention a few statistics that I think are pretty important for the general public to know about. Approximately 1 in 10 children will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday. Approximately 1 in 100 West Virginia children will be seen at a child advocacy center within the year. Last year, 4,879 new West Virginia children were served by a West Virginia child advocacy center. West Virginia children seen at a CAC or a child advocacy center are 5 times more likely to be drug endangered than the average American children seen at other CACs. Children advocacy centers are child-friendly facilities where children come to share their stories, receive healing, medical and mental health services, and experience justice. CACs coordinate with local law enforcement, prosecutors, medical and mental health providers, CPS, schools, and more. So I want to emphasize that our children here in Beckley are included in those statistics. 1 in 4 girls will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday, and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday as well. So, what am I here for? First off, I would like to express my heartfelt congratulations to everybody who's here, because I know that a lot of you are new. I'm new as well. I've only been at the CAC since November, so I'm still getting my feet wet. But I have felt very welcome here in Beckley, and I just want to say thank you for that. I'd also like to express my deepest gratitude to the City of Beckley for providing Just for Kids the platform to present to the council today. We are here to share the vital work of what it is that we do to protect our community's most vulnerable members and to seek your crucial support in continuing our mission and expanding our services. So we are a 501c3 organization that has been dedicated to serving children and families in the area for over 20 years. With the steadfast support of this wonderful community, we have been able to provide trauma-informed, victim-centered, child developmentally appropriate services to victims of child abuse and witnesses to violent crime. We are the sole child advocacy center serving children of Raleigh and Fayette counties, operating from our headquarters here in Beckley. Our organization coordinates the investigative efforts of the prosecutor's office, child protective services, law enforcement, advocates, medical professionals, and mental health clinicians under one roof. Our comprehensive services include forensic interviews, conducting specialized interviews to gather accurate information from children in a safe and supportive environment, family advocacy, providing continuous support and guidance to families navigating the complex legal and emotional landscape, crisis intervention, offering immediate assistance to children and families in distress, trauma-informed therapy, delivering therapeutic services that address the psychological impact of abuse, medical treatment and evidence collection, ensuring timely and appropriate medical care and documentation of abuse. We uphold high standards of interagency collaboration as set forth by the National Children's Alliance, working with a multidisciplinary team that includes the Raleigh County Prosecutor's Office, Beckley Police Department, Raleigh County Sheriff's Office, West Virginia State Police, Raleigh County Board of Education, and the Department of Health and of Human Services, Child Protective Services. Since our inception in 2003, Just for Kids has served more than 4,000 children. The majority of these cases involve neglect and sexual abuse, often intertwined with issues of drug and alcohol misuse. The #1 form of abuse reported is abuse related to drugs and alcohol. Our community's children are at an increased risk of drug exposure. In 2018, following the federal government's declaration of an opioid crisis, our neglect cases tripled. The subsequent COVID-19 epidemic further challenged our abilities to intervene effectively in capturing reliable data. However, anecdotally, we continue to see a significant number of children affected by opioids and parental substance abuse. Opioid misuse is alarmingly prevalent in familial sex trafficking cases that we see, and frequently in neglect cases where parents struggle with addiction who fail to meet their children's basic needs. This stark reality underscores the urgent need for our services. Despite being a critical part of the multidisciplinary team, Just for Kids is the only agency that has to seek external funding to support the work that we do. Our annual budget is slightly under $700,000, of which $200,000 must be raised through local fundraising efforts, just to maintain our current status quo. This financial strain limits our ability to enhance and expand our services, which are in high demand. We are asking that the city of Beckley to recognize Just for Kids as an invaluable community resource, deserving of support, in the city's distribution of funds. Specifically, we request consideration for a portion of the opioid funding to help cover our services and support for Beckley's children and families healing from abuse, which are not covered by states, grants, or private donation. By allocating a portion of these funds to Just for Kids, you will be directly contributing to their safety, health, and future of the children. In addition to that, I don't know if many of you have heard of VOCA. It's the Violence Against Victims of Crime Act. We are funded through VOCA funds. Unfortunately, VOCA is seeing a national crisis in that most agencies at the ground level are going to experience a major cut come 2025 in the fall. CACs across the nation, specifically here in West Virginia, will potentially see a 75% cut in VOCA funding. Our staff, we have 9 staff members. Our staff, 90% of their salary comes from VOCA funding. So we are at a pivotal point in our funding, in our ability to continue our services for the children in Beckley, for Raleigh County, for Fayette County as well. So we are now doing the Hail Mary of we're in a desperate need of reaching out to the communities that we serve to seek their assistance and making sure that we continue what we provide. We deeply appreciate the continued support from the city over the years, investing in Just for Kids and an investment in the future of our community. I invite any of you to Trudy's house. If you haven't been there, it's a beautiful location. It's on North Canal, just right down the street. We would love to show you what it is that we have going on there. We have a brand new pediatric sexual assault exam room that we just put into construction this year. We'd like to actually put it to use so kids don't have to drive all the way to Charlotte, which is where, or Charleston right now, is where they're getting their sexual assault exams right now. So if we can get a little help, we'd be able to keep the kids here and actually get the exams done here as well. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes. If you have any questions, please.
Yeah, so does anybody on council have any questions?
Dr. Johnson, I just have a comment. For those of you that don't know, Just for Kids is one of the, it's under the umbrella of the United Way of Southern West Virginia. You're one of the 44 nonprofits that are under the umbrella of 7 counties for the United Way of Southern West Virginia. So, Dr. Johnson, thank you and your staff for what you do. Those nonprofits are vetted. We're proud that you're a United Way agency. And so everybody buy your tickets to Dancing with the Stars because it helps everybody together with all of the nonprofits that are under that umbrella. So, thank you, Dr. Johnson.
And I'll tell you, Dr. Johnson, I did read the packet that you gave me. I appreciate that, and look through that, through the financials and everything else. Like, one of the questions I had, though, is like the kids, like sexually abused or neglected and stuff like that, do you all house them at any point, or?
I'm so glad that you asked that, because
Okay.
that is a misconception that a lot of people in the general public have. They think that we have a house that houses kids. We do not.
Okay.
So we are a neutral party. We do not work for Child Protective Services or work for law enforcement. We do not have the ability to take children or anything like that. We house them for the sole purpose of we will interview you or have a therapy session and then you go home, please. We do not keep children at any point in time at the house. It's strictly an office setting.
So you all basically just do like guidance and
We
things
do.
like that?
So at Trudy's house, we do the forensic interview,
Right.
which is where the child goes. It's a child-friendly room where the forensic interviewer is with the child and they ask a lot of questions.
Sure.
It's videotaped. It's just the interviewer and the child, and then in another room through closed circuit TV, the law enforcement officer or the Child Protective Service investigator, they may be watching as well. So we provide the interview, and then we also provide advocacy, where our family advocates may offer assistance with housing or with food, with connecting parents to other outside resources and partner agencies. And then we offer trauma-informed therapeutic services that it's really specific to crisis intervention. And if it elevates to a level to where it's outside of the scope of the therapist, then we might refer out for therapy.
Does anybody else have any questions? No, Cody, nobody? So I met with Billy Trump last week, I think it was last week.
Yeah.
Don't act so surprised. And we were talking about maybe, and it was actually an idea that Danielle Stewart had about setting up a workshop and trying to figure out, like, with that money, like, how do we want to disperse it? Like, where, do we want to, use up to 10% of it this year, 20%, 25% a year? So we had talked about setting up a workshop and figured out, and Danielle's idea was, do you want a soft 25% toward recovery, 25% toward maybe re-education and mentoring and things like that. But how does everybody on city council feel about doing a workshop on that?
I definitely think, especially with having 4 new members, we should, and I mean, I can only remember one thing that we've gave money to out of it so far. That was the Dolly Parton book.
Actually, we haven't given them any money yet.
Right.
We're vetting them through the
Okay.
State Attorney General's office, and there may be some questions.
Gotcha. So that's the only one that we've
Right.
voted on. So I mean, I would definitely be in favor of a workshop, especially for the, a new body, understanding exactly how, how much money we have and how it's able to be spent, because there's a lot of different ways that, we can spend it.
Right, and the other thing is, that Billy Trump and I discussed is he's got the guidance on what you can do with that money and what you cannot do with that money. So I
Exactly.
think it'd be good for us to have a workshop, and I think it's a great cause, and I'm sure we will want to do that. Is there like a timeline that you would need the money by? Is it like on a tight deadline?
We're currently in grant season. so to
Okay.
speak, Right, so all the grants are out, we're trying to push grant applications out the door.
Right,
It depends on the grant cycle of when all of that happens, but October 1 is usually when the new fiscal year, comes into play, for us. So that's kind of where, where does that sound about right?
Are you going to like other cities within the two counties and maybe like county commission? Is there like a specific number like you've come up with that you're going to ask like each commission, council, like what exactly you would
So,
need?
Yeah, no, that's a really important question. So, yes, so we have gone to the county, and the response from the county was that there wasn't a process put into place yet.
yeah,
Which is understandable, and then once that process is put into place, then of course we'll follow whatever guidance that we're given there. Like I said, we have 9 staff members right now. My biggest concern is their salary.
Right.
And in addition to that, we have 1 full-time therapist that serves both counties.
Gotcha.
And our therapist is way overtaxed. She currently has over 60 cases. So what I would like to be able to see is at least hire another full-time therapist. And then if we're able to get more funds from, say, the county or elsewhere,
Yeah.
then hire another staff member. And that is about 50 to 53,000, depending on who it is.
gotcha.
Dr. Johnson, you'll also be asking the city of Oak Hill as well?
Yes.
In Fayette County?
Yes.
Was
Doing
this
the
the-
same process.
Was this statistic correct, that since Just for Kids advocacy began here in 2003, 4,000,
Over 4,000.
over 4,000 have gone through the,
Correct.
okay, I want to make sure I got that correct. Okay.
So, Billy, do you know off the top of your head if the funding can be used for salaries?
That's a really good question, and usually, whenever there's a question, we have some contacts at the State Attorney General's office, and we just lay it out before them, and they give us some guidance on whether that's a proper use or an improper use. And before we can recommend that, council has to vote on the distribution of the funds, but before we recommend any distribution of funds, we want to make sure it meets all the criteria
Right.
before we even move forward.
Exactly.
Thank you, Billy. So if that's okay, I'd like to make a motion to set up a workshop to where we could get together and figure out like what we want, how we want to do the disbursement.
Totally fine with me.
I do have one question for you. Trudy's house, beautiful house. I've been in it when you all were looking at it. Do you all own it or lease it?
We own it.
Okay.
And we're very excited to make our final payment in November.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's quick.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll be in touch very soon, and I appreciate your time here today. Excellent.
Thank you, Dr. Johnson.
All right, next up is the reappointment of Manuel Cartel to the Planning Commission, a 3-year term. May I have a motion to reappoint?
So moved.
Can I get a second? Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Okay, great. So moved. Right, I got that. Next up is the notification for application for the West Virginia ABCA license for 1002 Neville Street. There's no action needed by city council, but I believe we have code enforcement. Donna Morgan, if you want to expand on that, tell us a little bit about it.
Sheridan Richmond applicant, United Body Lodge LLC, doing business as Paragon Fabulous Eatery, 1002 Middle Street. Map 10, parcel 84, has filed a notice of intent to apply to operate a private wine restaurant at this location in the B1 Business Neighborhood District. This location, 1002 Middle Street, and the intended use, private wine restaurant, is a permitted use in the B1 zone. The use of private wine restaurant is not prohibited for this location. The location is not in an area designated by common council for the use of community development block grant.
Thank you, Donnie. All right, moving on. First reading of ordinance granting sewer line extension easement through Rails to Trails property in vicinity of Rural Acres Drive. This is the first reading. Mr. Fowle has more information on that. If you want to go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, tonight will be the first reading of this ordinance. If approved tonight, we'll have second reading at the first meeting in the month of August. And what this ordinance does is it it authorizes the city to grant a temporary and permanent easement across the Rails to Trails property out in the vicinity of Rural Acres Drive. There's a developer there that wants to do a commercial development on a piece of land that right now does not have sewer connection. This sewer connection will be through the North Beckley Public Service District, not through the City of Beckley Sanitary Board. But the reason it needs to be done this way is the city owns the Rails to Trails, although this property is not located technically within the city limits. So what we'll ask is for a motion to approve this ordinance. I'll read it by title. It's going to be a 2-inch line that goes through a very short distance of the Rails to Trails property. The developer will be required to maintain and to fix the property once they have done the work on this installation of the line. And so the developer is certainly willing to do so, and he is the one that has requested this. This ordinance is titled, "An Ordinance Authorizing the City of Beckley to Grant a Temporary Construction and Permanent O&M Easement through the city's Rails to Trails property in the vicinity of Rural Acres Drive." I'm not going to go into a detailed description of where this is on the Rails to Trails. We have a map that can be shown if anybody really wants to look at it. They're more than welcome to do so. But what we would ask right now is for a motion to approve on first reading this ordinance.
So move.
And
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, very good. It passes. We'll move on to the next. Budget revision for the fiscal year 24-25 municipal budget. So this I'm going to turn over to interim city manager Billy Trump.
Thank you. Typically, we do a revision of the municipal budget in this month because we want to bring the unassigned fund balance, the estimate of the unassigned fund balance into balance with what the funds actually were in the carryover. And we'll be doing that as well. But because of the resolution to change the form of city government and the litigation that was associated with it, we were really unable to put together any budget numbers for the mayor's office, for the council office, for the city manager's office. So one of the things this budget revision does is it adjusts the mayor's budget and moves a significant amount of funds from that budget into the city manager's budget. It increases the city manager's budget. It also adjusts the city council budget to reflect the raises that were in the ordinance. And then because we are fortunate enough to have $400,000 plus grant to do demolitions, we're raising the judge's office budget in anticipation of potential litigation there. To make these all work out, we're Also, anticipating larger revenue from B&O and from sales tax, but I always significantly underestimate those and overestimate expenses. So you have the budget in front of you, so any questions?
No, but thank you and Jessica for entertaining my idea of having my information in front of me. We're good.
Very good.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? All right, then may I have a motion to go ahead and approve the revisions for the fiscal year 24-25 municipal budget as presented?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. All right, very well, we'll move on. So moved. Community Development Block Grant, fiscal year 24-25, the 5-year consolidated plan. So Angela King, the city's grant administrator, would normally be here to talk about this, but I understand she's on vacation. So Bill
Be glad to.
By's going to take over.
Yeah, the next three items on the agenda are very short resolutions that Angela has asked us to present to council and hopefully get approved tonight. And these do involve the CDBG, or Community Development Block Grant Funds. The first one is titled, just resolution, be resolved by the Common Council of the City of Beckley that the Common Council approves the 5-year consolidated plan to help the city assess its affordable housing and community development needs and market conditions, and to make date-driven, place-based investment decisions concerning CDBG funding. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city manager are authorized to sign any documents required to facilitate this 5-year consolidated plan. And so we'll take them one at a time. We'd ask that have a motion and a second to approve this.
Does anybody have any questions? Council, anybody have any questions for us?
Attorney Fowl, do you know where the low moderate areas are?
I cannot speak specifically on where they would be.
Okay, that's okay. I'll get with Angela.
We can get that information.
That's okay. I
Yeah.
can get with her.
The
Thank you.
change according to the census.
Census, right.
And I think the map should be available by now if we look at the
Mhm.
Census Bureau.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Well, I talked to Angela today, and even though she was on vacation, I forgot, but she did say it was a map that's out there that we can look at.
That's why I do tell individuals it is very important to complete the census.
Absolutely.
Anybody have any other questions? All right, if not, I'll, may I have a motion to approve the 5-year consolidated plan?
So moved.
Second? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, very well. So next up is the CDBG fiscal year 2024 annual action plan. So this is the second part of that you have the summary on.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll read this resolution, which also is quite short. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Beckley that Common Council approves the annual action plan to implement the consolidated plan. The 144-page action plan was produced after 2 public hearings and is available on the City of Beckley website. The annual action plan is a yearly summary of the actions, activities, and resources that will be used to address the consolidated plan's goals and priority needs concerning CDBG funding. And the mayor and city manager will be authorized to sign any documents required to facilitate the annual action plan. So we just need a motion and second on that.
All right. Same thing, does anybody from council have any questions on that part? No? All right, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. All right, the ayes have it. We'll move on to the third part there, Mr. File. Fiscal year 2024 analysis of impediments to fair housing choice.
Right, I'll read this final resolution. Be it resolved by the Common Council of the City of Beckley that the Common Council approves the analysis of impediments to fair housing choice. This analysis is a process the city, as a recipient of the grant funds from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, undertakes as part of its obligations to affirmatively further fair housing under the Fair Housing Act. And the mayor and city manager are authorized to sign any documents required to facilitate the analysis of impediments to fair housing choice and to affirmatively further fair housing under the Fair Housing Act. Mayor, just once again, need a motion and a second to approve.
Sure. All right, so may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. All right, very well. We'll move on to old business. But before I ask anybody from city council if they have any old business, I just want to say one thing. We had, I think you were not here last time, but we had like 13 public comments, and I thought it was awesome. I thought there was a lot of great points brought up. I thought there was a lot of issues that have been out there before that maybe haven't been resolved. So I will give props to the council members for taking time over the last 2 weeks to try to figure out solutions, to meeting with Donnie at Code Enforcement. The Hargrave Apartments was obviously a big issue a couple weeks ago, and you know what we found out that is that HUD, Kip McKenna can help me if I'm mistaken on this, but HUD they have their own inspectors that makes it HUD approved. And I understand that last time we had an invitation for people to go to the August 5th board meeting,
correct.
which is open to the public, but they've switched the dates
To
now.
August the 12th at 4 o'clock.
So August 12th.
We had three commissioners going to be on vacation that week on August 5th, so we moved it to August the 12th at 4 p.m.
We've also
on Beckwoods.
Sorry, Kip. I
Beckwoods.
didn't mean to
Sorry.
talk. Thank you, Kip. We've also talked to Public Works about trying to find a solution. Maybe Mary West heard about that. I don't know. That's unbelievable, man. I was ready to say, hey, we did this and that, but
I can't believe she's not here.
no. So we took the time to meet with Public Works and try to figure out what we could do. Frank Williams had an awesome idea. We're going to try to put that in place. I'm not going to discuss it, but it was an awesome idea if we can do that. They're checking into it. But does anybody else from council have any old business?
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Sharon.
no. It's kind of, well, I'm going to say it, but not now.
I got two things.
Cody?
With the last administration, I know, Pinecrest was kind of at the very end, tail end of it. We kind of, I guess it's got tabled a little bit. I know that it was brought to our attention that there's supposed to be a committee with the Pinecrest board that I wasn't aware of before. And the mayor, Rappold, had asked me to be on with a few other. But I wanted to make a suggestion, and Mr. Fowle, I guess, see how we could do this if this is what needs to be done. But I would like to make a committee that's just set through from, next term, next administration, where the two at-large members are always on the committee, the city manager, the mayor, and the city attorney. And the reason I do that and ask that is because the at-large positions handle all the bidding process throughout the city. So anything that would come up, through Pinecrest, if we would need to develop any kind of bids or anything like that, myself and Ms. Hunter would be looking at it, or whoever would be 4 or 8 years down the road would be looking at it. Obviously, city manager, city attorney, and the mayor, because they're the most involved that's sitting up here. I was just wondering if that's something that we can do, just so, kind of get the ball rolling, figuring out what's going to happen with the Pinecrest. There's a lot of controversy, a month and a half ago about that.
Right. No, I think it's a good idea. It's certainly something that can be done. And I think at our next meeting, we'll have some information to provide also regarding that. But no, I think your idea of setting a committee with those members is appropriate.
Okay, and my next thing was fruits of labor, just trying to get the ball rolling. I know we kind of, first meeting was just welcoming everybody, and we had our training last night. Is that something that you think we should maybe go into executive session after public comments to kind of get the new council members up to speed where we're at in lease agreements, and maybe even just to see where they stand, so we're not just spinning our wheels and, there's 4 new people, they might not be in agreement with anything that's been, mentioned at that point. Do you think we should maybe go into executive session after public comments?
Well, we can certainly go into executive session. We have to be careful that we don't make any decisions in
Yeah.
executive session.
Yeah, I was thinking more
Yeah,
of
we
just get everybody up to speed to kind of let
Sure.
them know where we're at on the lease negotiations at this point.
No, that's fine, absolutely.
So-
And it's my understanding that one of the council members also asked for a workshop
Right.
on this at the last meeting.
Okay.
So
And
which do you think would be better?
I know that we went into executive session just because of the lease
Right.
negotiations. That's why
Yeah.
I was kind of
Yeah, we can do that. We can have a very short executive session this evening if council votes to do that. And then we still would have a workshop.
Okay.
Right.
Is that
I think
something
the
I need to make a
workshop would-
motion?
I think
It's
the workshop
beneficial.
come first.
Yeah, workshop first.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
Either
fine.
way, I'm fine with either one. I was just thinking, just
Well-
that we're basically in a contract negotiation.
Right, and which is correct. My suggestion, based on what you said, Cody, is that we ask for a executive session this evening. As I said, it would be a very short executive session, but we can summarize and discuss where we are. And then I think there should be a workshop set before the next council meeting.
Definitely.
And then, that would be obviously open to the public, and the public can hear what is taking place. And then, if it's the desire, we can have it on council agenda at the next meeting, which would be 3 weeks from tonight.
So does there need to be a motion to do that?
Yeah, there should be. You might want to go ahead and complete all the other
Others.
activity first.
Okay.
And then
That works.
we can do that.
Sherry?
I want to apologize to everybody that I wasn't here. But my husband's 14 days out from his back surgery, and it was all successful, so we're happy about that. Thank you, and thank you for your prayers. And this isn't the Hunter Family Hour, but I do want to say that during 2022, 2023, and sometimes 2024, I have not been able to be at a council meeting, and that's because our grandson, Christian, was undergoing leukemia treatments at WVU Madison Children's. And I'm proud to say that on August the 6th, Christian Taylor Martin gets to ring the bell. And so that's really very exciting. But I do want everybody to know that we appreciate your presence here, but I want you to know that personally, my family, our daughter Leslie and our little grandson Harrison, we were at the Beckley Exhibition Coal Mine on July 4th. That was the most incredible day. Harrison was asking all kinds of questions. Of course, we saw Miss Leslie Baker there on July 4th. We were the only West Virginians in the train, and the people were amazed at what they were seeing. And I kept on hearing a man saying, "Coal, oh my word, coal." And Mr. Kurt Richards did an unbelievable job. And a person that was on that tour, Miss Baker, stopped him and said, "Sir, you are a gem, and so is this place." And so all over the nation, everybody's just raving about the Beckley Exhibition Coal Mine. So I just wanted to sing praises to everybody there. Tomorrow is Mountaineer Food Bank's mobile food pantry for the public. The truck arrives at 10 o'clock with distribution from 11 until 12:30. Volunteers are always welcome to come and help. This is the general public's mobile food pantry at Epling Stadium. We've been doing this since the pandemic. And the second Friday of every month is the mobile food pantry, the veterans table for veterans. So and it's an hour earlier. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you all for being present. We appreciate you.
Anyone else?
I do have something,
Yeah.
Mayor. I just want to thank Jill Moorfield and Michelle Rolalini for the Bill Withers festivities. It was outstanding, so I just want to thank them for a job well done.
Thanks, Janine. Yeah. Okay, then we'll move on to new business. Natalie, you want to start?
Sure. I want to remind you people, you gave me a microphone, so, I just have some positive things to say about what I've seen the past 2 weeks. First of all, thank you. I have a teacher voice, I probably don't really need that. I do want to say thank you to Jessica and to Susan and to Billy Trump for, giving us the information that we need in a timely manner. Mr. Trump and Mr. File have both said that they would be available to answer questions. I hope I don't make you regret those statements because I'm a lot. But I also have thanks here, not just to Billy and Jessica and Mr. File, but also to code enforcement. I have to spend the day with them. There is so much involved in that job. I would probably tear my hair out after a couple of hours. Thank you so much for that experience, Captain Morgan, because I can't believe everything that you all handle in the course of a day with as few employees as you have. And also to Pam, and Pam, I'm going to talk about you in just a minute here. And we have worked on something for Mary West, but we won't go into it tonight. We want to wait till Mary's here. But I think we've resolved some things. But my friend Dillard over there, and if you don't know Dillard manages food service at Carpenter's Corner, and he and the workers there have been cleaning up Shoemaker Square after the people that eat the food that they distribute. And he came and asked right before the meeting if we could get trash cans there because they're cleaning up Shoemaker Square with only 5-gallon buckets. I talked to Pam. Pam says we can start with trash cans and see what we can do. So hopefully problem solved, Dillard. Dillard didn't want to talk tonight, so, you know, I'm always willing to speak for somebody. So, but I do think that things are going in a positive direction. People are smiling, people are learning about what goes on. Leslie invited me to come hang out with her. I'm sure that's going to be overwhelming too, but I'll do it. Okay. That's all I have to say, but thank you. It's been a positive experience so far.
Good job, Natalie.
I just have one more
Yeah,
thing.
go ahead.
Chief Bailey also has a surprise for Mary West, so I just wanted to put that out
Where
there.
is she, man?
Yeah.
Where is she?
You know, kind of surprised.
We're on a mission.
Man, she picked a bad week to go on vacation, didn't she? I tell you. Anybody else have anything?
Hopefully she's watching from home.
I almost guarantee. All right, next we'll move on to public comments, and first up is Gina Belcher. Jessica, 3 minutes. Thanks.
Hello, how are you? Good evening, council members. I apologize for not being at your first meeting. I did have a round of COVID, so all clear now. So very anxious to meet with you all and learn and allow you all to learn more about the New River Gorge Regional Development Authority. Obviously, Beckley is a founding member of the NRGRDA back in 1988. You are the only municipality that was involved in founding the organization, so 36 years ago. So there's a lot to unpack with that. But in the interim, I wanted to go ahead and follow up on a couple sort of time-sensitive projects and then ask the council how best to continue communicating with you all about these projects, whether that's a workshop or a focus group or what that could look like, because we do have a lot of moving parts related to these projects and we want to make sure that communication is consistent. I'm going to leave each of you all with a packet of the 4 high priority projects that we are focused on right now that are time sensitive. There are others, but these are the 4 that are most time sensitive. Obviously, Cody mentioned Pinecrest. I appreciate you keeping that top of mind, Cody. I do want to acknowledge that the agreement with Pinecrest does state the 5-member committee and who those committee members are. So if that changes, that agreement will need to be revisited. Additionally, I do know that on the 25th of June, the engineering firm bids were open. You all have 90 days until those are invalid based on 5G procurement. You're 30 days in. So I want to make sure that we move forward with those engineering reviews, because you do have to put a 3 to 5 member committee together to review those, shortlist them, and select. So you will have to interview. If you have any questions about the 5G procurement process at the state, please consider me a resource to help guide through that at any point. Additionally, I do want to go ahead and throw out the conversations that are being had related to Pinecrest, and I think there is a genuine interest from the County Commission to consider a collaboration with the City of Beckley on Pinecrest, and I do think that that conversation should be moved forward fairly soon, because again, I think that there's a willingness to collaborate there. So I wanted to go ahead and put that out there. The other sort of item that you'll see here is NRGRDA does have a board seat for Beckley as a municipality. Traditionally, the mayor has served in that seat. It dictates, our bylaws dictate that the mayor selects who serves in that seat. So I wanted to go ahead and put that out, that there is a vacancy on the board, and so I'm not sure the process that you all will follow to fill that. Since my time, Mayor Rappold was the only mayor, so I'm not sure how that previously has been done, but that's something that needs to be followed up on soon so that you all have representation. The other two items on here that are time sensitive, and I know I only have a few minutes, so there's additional information. One, we have been working with the city, with Bill File and Billy Trump and Chief Bailey. Back in 2021, we were deeded the shooting range property. We'd really like to give that back to you all. And so we do need to discuss the liability around that. Chief Bailey and I have all but threatened to lock the gates at this point. So we'd really like to have a conversation. So again, I'm going to give these to you all to keep. Please reach out. Contact info is at the bottom of it. And if a workshop is in order with NRGRDA, please let me know, and we're happy to move that forward.
Thank you, Gina. Next up, Amanda Hammonds.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. Amanda Hammonds. I am a community advocate and I work in substance use disorder as a counselor. Good evening, councilwomen and men. You'll have to forgive me for reading rather than rehearsing, but I assure you this comes from my full heart. I come to you today to include all the citizens of Beckley and you in a very important change that we all know needs addressed. I've lived, worked, and went to school in Raleigh County for over 30 years, and I love this county for its ability to grow through adversity and its strong family inclusion aspects. However, I would like to express the county's frustration and concern with a consistent and rising number of underserved individuals. You may have seen these individuals at Carpenter's Corner or just sitting around town. These underserved individuals range from citizens with mental health to substance use disorder, as well as struggling simply because of the economy, in which most are actually considered in poverty. We just experienced an epidemic and are still experiencing an epidemic and a pandemic with both the opioids and the COVID-19. I'm aware that the city has been very supportive of the efforts of several nonprofits as well as federal-based programs working to meet the needs of all of these citizens. Yet we still see fluctuations in these numbers. I believe that there's one thing missing for sustainable outcome. Rather than sparse resources spread throughout the county that are difficult to access, why not support a centrally accessible location for all resources and guidance needed? We propose the consideration of a day center. This day center will hold, maintain, and access to all current local resources and function as an entity that refers out and guides all those in need to our greatest ability. Because of Beckley has no day center currently, many local service workers such as myself and many in this room meet citizens where they are, in local parks, street corners, and just recently a bank. A lady just walked in and asked for help and I was called. A lot of this happens behind the scenes, but I know that we see an overflow and fluctuation of the numbers. So I know everyone's on the same page with me with this concern. This causes extended difficulty when we attempt to access resources for these individuals and a time limit, and it's very difficult to have a follow-up, hence the continued and rising numbers. We can't reach back out to them afterwards to show them what we found and help them continuously. Thus, after numerous community conversations, Dillard Lawson of Carpenter's Corner, James Burt of Housed Up Incorporated, several local entities, and myself wish to create and support a day center to meet the unmet need of our city. This project would be an effective way to lower the number of individuals that are scattered throughout without guidance. We are in the process of forming a grant proposal for sustainability, a database for all resources combined, and a board of advisory council. We are considering a 4,000 square feet brick and mortar location that isn't city owned. The location will be serving citizens in an area of the city that lowers concerns downtown, and we ask the city council to consider and support this endeavor.
Hey, Amanda, it's been 3 minutes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I can send this to you formally if you'd like.
Yes,
I just need a
absolutely.
contact
We all know
information.
it's a huge problem. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that.
We're basically just asking for a letter of support and for someone from the city council to sit on the board.
You got it.
Thank
Right
you.
here you go. I appreciate it, Amanda. Next up, Rose Hicks. Rose Hicks. Gosh.
Hi. I want to say I'm glad to see y'all have microphones. That is lovely. Mary West said that her truck is still in the shop and she's just sitting this one out. And thank y'all for her concern, for y'all's concern, she says.
Oh.
I would like to reiterate something that Mary said about taking out the parking meters. That would be lovely. And also about having prayer beginning of the meetings. That would be nice. My thing about the left turn signals over there on Robert C. Byrd Drive into town and from Central Street. I don't know the name of the street that comes into town, and I was told it's 3rd Avenue. There's no sign there, and there's no speed limit. I was going 25 or so, and I was told it might be 15, but there's no speed limit to tell you, so I don't know that. But I also like to reiterate something that Mr. Mosley said about maybe forming a street committee for my and his and Mary's issues. It would be nice. It would be helpful. Also, I did not mention last time was the streets over there at Hull Street and Berry Street. There is a 2-way stop there at Berry Street at Hull, but there needs to be a 4-way stop at Hull and Berry. That's all.
Thank you. Next up, Michelle Morgan.
She no longer wishes to speak.
Oh, okay. Well, Christina, you're up next then. How's that?
We're going a different pace today, folks. Y'all are used to hearing me yell. First of all, in transparency, to see these microphones here, I love it. And everybody can hear you. We don't need earbuds. And I'm so excited because I've been waiting 8 years just for this. So thank you for that. And also, before I get started, I wanted to apologize to you, Mr. Frank Williams. I think what I said last city council was misinterpreted. I didn't mean you, as in you were driving by Hargrove Street. I meant code enforcement. So I just wanted to clarify that so we understand each other and there's no ill feelings there.
None whatsoever.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hargrove Apartments. We are still dealing with this issue, even though this was over almost a month ago. The Hargrove mass evictions could have and should have been handled very differently. These people lost everything from just because of lack of ability to transport or store their possessions. And some of them were so bug infested that it was just better to leave it behind. These untimely evictions took place when the shelter was full. It left local organizations scrambling to find adequate shelter, food, and resources. This population includes the disabled, elderly, young adults with children, and youth. It's a terrible situation that could have been avoided altogether, just given a little more time and care. One landlord caused this entire expenditure for local organizations. Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood taught us in times of trouble or crisis to look for the helpers. Several nonprofit organizations immediately came together to provide boots on the ground support. But one outshines us all, and that is the Raleigh County Family Support Center. From securing hotel stays, transporting people, food, personal hygiene items, baby supplies, making sure that these families had proper documentation to apply for local assistance programs, and if they didn't, finding a way to help them get it. You're meeting people where they are And we need more of this because this is what it means to build community. The Raleigh County Family Support Center could use the city's support to continue being this community support. And the executive director, Kelly Gano, has done a phenomenal job navigating everything for these individuals.
All right, Christina, thank you. That was 3 minutes.
I'm going to give her her flowers right now, figuratively, and
We'll allow that.
please support the Family Support Center.
Thank you.
Well deserved.
I actually fed her lunch before we came. My name is Danielle Stewart. Thank you again for allowing me to speak. I come to you today to follow up on one of the issues I presented last week, and that is a special municipal election to return the city of Beckley to a strong mayor form of government. I've given each of you copies of the relevant state code for reference. If the city wants to return to a strong mayor form of government, the city is required to change the charter. You can do this in one of 3 ways. I'm only going to cover one because it's really the only one that's relevant at this time, and that is by city council calling for a special municipal election. This requires a 2/3 vote of city council members. Any proposed amendment or amendment shall be set out in full in the ordinance calling for a special election. The date of any special municipal election for the purpose shall be fixed by the ordinance, but any such special municipal election shall be held not less than 30 days nor more than 60 days after such ordinance shall have been adopted. So with those key dates in mind, in order for to be on the ballot in November, City Council will need to have the first reading of the ordinance at the August 13 meeting, and the second reading would have to be at the September 24th meeting. This will ensure the approval of the ordinance is within the specified times and can be on the ballot in November. There's another easier way to make the change short term. By city ordinance and majority vote, the City Council may repeal Section 2-911 that prevents the mayor and city council members from serving as city manager. Then council can simply appoint the elected mayor as city manager. I can find nothing in state law that prevents it, though I am still researching. What was created by ordinance can be changed by ordinance. One last fact that I learned during all this, Chapter 8-5-7 pertaining to certain officers, wards, or election districts, residency, and other requirements. In paragraph C, that unless otherwise provided by charter provision or ordinance, the mayor, recorder, and council members must be residents of the municipality and must be qualified voters entitled to vote for members of the governing body. A city manager in a manager form government need only be a resident of the city at the time of his or her appointment. Now previous council, when they passed the ordinance, put that part out, but it was always the intent that the city manager be selected from the residents of the city and not brought in from somewhere else. And that again is the state law, the 3rd page. Last thing I have is just a note. Beckley represents 24% of the population of Raleigh County. So the idea that Raleigh County paying $10,000 and Beckley pays $10,000 isn't right. You know, if Raleigh County is paying $10,000, the city should pay $2,400. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. And last up is Shamira Harbin. Shamira. I gotta get better at this. Shamira.
You will.
Everybody knows me as Myra.
Shamira.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
And I just want to thank everyone that spoke, Danielle, Christina, Dr. Johnson. I just thank you guys for everything that you do with Just for Kids. I work with Just for Kids for a little bit. Well, I've known you when Scott was in office, and I worked for the Beckley Area Foundation, and you guys do a phenomenal job. And with working in the school system and seeing some of these children, you are definitely an asset to this community. But I am here on behalf of the United Apostolic Faith Church for tonight, and I was just coming out to invite City Council to our Back to School event that we are doing for the community in Raleigh County. This event will be held on August the 3rd. It will be at the soccer field beside Memorial Baptist Church at 1405 South Canal Street. We will have food, entertainment, and fun. Our keynote speaker to speak to the youth and to encourage them on that day will be our president of WVU Tech, Dr. Raymond Stewart. So he will be our keynote speaker speaking there. We will also have a live pro wrestling from American Pro Wrestling from 12 to 1 for the youth. And we just ask that all city council members, if you can, and the community will come out for this event. We will be giving away at least 300. We have prepared to give away at least 300 backpacks filled with school supplies. We will be feeding the community, and we just ask that you all just come out and hang out with the community. This will be just like a cookout setting. We will be grilling hamburgers and hot dogs, and there will be drinks. We will also be giving away computers to those. We will also have a computer giveaway that will be by raffle drawing. And so I just come out to invite city council and also anybody under my voice that would like to come out for this event. You all are invited. That's all I have.
Thank you, Myra.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that's it. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
Well,
Oh, what are we going to do?
did you want to go into executive session?
Oh, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
do
we-
a vote.
They stand for that?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Thank you, Cody.
Has a second,
Second.
right?
It needs a second.
All in favor, say aye.
And what you'll do is, once this session is over,
Yeah.
there'll be no further business, so if the audience wants to leave, that's fine. We'll meet in here, the council will stay here to discuss what's going on.
How long do you think it'll be?
I don't anticipate a lengthy.
Not very long?
Not very long.
That is up to you all, but thank you.
Probably have turned the microphone.